Hello, and welcome back to another exciting adventure of Terrestrial Nomad, the podcast, a recording, a production, something. Hello. Thanks for stopping in and checking in to see how it's going. A lot of stuff has gone down. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm trying to get the group to record, but there just doesn't seem to be a right time. And that's cool. But, the show must go on. And I'm sure you at home or wherever you're at listening, you're just wondering, what is Jafar going to get into next? Well, I'm wondering the same thing sometimes, am I going to get to Canada? Am I going to get to the northern terminus? Will I finish the PCT? Have I finished already? I don't know. Not really sure. So we are back at the Densmores, Hiker Haven. We got into Stevens Pass about a week ago, maybe a little longer. Today is Friday, October the 9th. Yes, October 9th. We're still alive, still hiking through Washington. I can't remember the last time I recorded, but I'm going to try to update you from there. So, I want to say it was after Goldmire Hot Springs. I think it was right before the Jesus walked up, or I recorded when the Jesus walked up. Either way, out of, that's the local train here at the Densmores. If you are staying at Hiker Haven, you will be advised that there is a train that does four honks. The third one's the longest, and the fourth is a short one. It's coming. One more. Maybe not. I hope you can hear the train in the background. It's quite loud. It rumbles the house here. So out of Snoqualmie Pass, we did the Goldmire alternative. I was not feeling 100% there, still kind of a little under the weather, still with that weird stomach bug that was going on. I'd highly recommend doing the Goldmire alternative. Stop me if I've already said this and it's already on another recording or a previous one. I've also got my folders and files mixed up on this machine that I'm using to record with, so I'm not 100% sure if all of this is going to be coming through or what, but anyways, out of Snoqualmie, we did the Goldmire alternative, which is kind of day one you get onto that, and it cuts off 10 miles of the PCT. It's still quite the ass-kicking of a climb going up and down, but Goldmire was great. It's $20 to camp there a person, and then you get access to the hot springs there. Top-notch hot springs. Real cool place. Definitely, like I said, I would highly recommend going, stopping, checking it out. It's a magical little spot. After the Goldmire alternative was complete, that was when we saw once we got back on the PCT, we started actually seeing other hikers there for a while. It was about 4 days of no hikers, which was quite weird, and we were thinking maybe we were at the end of a bubble. The Jesus appeared, and he kind of got indoctrinated into the Bathroom Boys group, into the Chill Hard group, and he was glad to come. He was running low on weed, and we had plenty of it, so we all had a good old time. And it took us, we were hiking single digits, less than 10 miles a day, up until White Pass, not White Pass, I apologize. After Snoqualmie is Stevens Pass. Stevens Pass. I think it took us 6 days, maybe 7 days to get down to Stevens Pass. Had a bunch of really awesome days in between there. It wasn't that I wasn't feeling 100%, but the group, we all had kind of packed enough food to really extend this little trip in between, which would have, typically 70 miles. 70, I think it was closer to 80, but then once we cut off with the Goldmeyer alternative, we're looking more like 70 miles. Still took us about 6 days, so we really took our time to get to Stevens Pass. There was quite a lot of little fun adventures and things that we did along the way, which hopefully when I get the group to record, maybe tomorrow, we'll go over some of the stuff that happened there. One of the big things that stands out for me in that trip, because I really can't even remember what happened, but yeah, so it was about a week ago that we were planning. It was we had kind of got to where we were only about 7 miles away from Stevens Pass, which is the exit for the town of Skykomish, where you would be resupplying or picking up your mail drop or whatever it is that you would be doing there. So we had 7 miles to hike in to get to the Densmores, and we all decided to take a little bit of acid. This was kind of everybody's first time to take a psychedelic into a town, which was it played out very nicely. Couldn't have worked any better. We woke up pretty early, 9 a.m. We dosed at like 9:30 a.m. so we would not be too loopy by the time we did get to town. Although that didn't help, because we were all feeling it still pretty hard once we did get to the pass there. I think that 7 miles took us about, I want to say about 8 hours. We got to Stevens Pass, and I think we did see a couple hikers that day. Titan stood out. He was cool. He kind of played frisbee with us, and I don't know if he knew we were tripping, but we had a lot of fun playing a little frisbee there at the just before the pass there. Met a couple other hikers whose name escaped me now. There were 2 girls that ended up hitching with us, the group of 5 that we had. Me, Hero, Redwood, Shepherd, and the Jesus. And then it was Molly and the other girl's name, which is escaped, Motown. Molly and Motown were kind of hitching with us, and really it's just it's kind of impossible to get a hitch with that many people. I think they knew it, we knew it too. We didn't really give a shit. We were tripping and didn't. I mean, the longer it took to get into town for us, we could care less. So we decided to make a human pyramid to hitch. So just off the highway, just on the median there, the shoulder, we built a human pyramid with on top was, okay, so let's see, the bottom would have been, like, I think it was Redwood, Shepherd, and Hero, and then me and the Jesus were in the middle too, and then Motown. She was on top with a sign that said PCT hikers, and everybody on the right side put their thumb out. It was really great. I definitely want to put some sort of photo to this, so if you're listening to this and you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or something, definitely check that photo out. It's one of the coolest photos I've ever taken. It's one of the coolest hitches I've ever been a part of. Really cool. That day was just absolutely great. I mean, obviously we had we had a little too much fun. But it was great. We did get a hitch, not from the human pyramid, which you would think. You'd think that would get the hitch, but that is not the case. We did not get the hitch from that, but a man did stop who had hiked the PCT previously, or a section, or something like that. He had a day pack in the back and hiking boots on, so we knew we were good to go. They were getting dropped off in Skykomish to meet up with some other people, and I think it was some people that we'd hiked with previously, like Ox and the Prospector and a few other guys in that group. I want to say that Gush was there, but I think he was a little bit ahead, actually. Either way, so we get that hitch, and the other guys get a separate hitch. I don't know how their hitch went, but me and Hero were almost not able to function on a normal human level. So the two girls got dropped off, and me and Hero got dropped off. We were just trying to get to the Densmores, Hiker Haven, and just outside of Skycomish in Bering, Washington. And the man dropped. We said, it's at this the Bering store. That's all kind of the directions that we had on Half Miles apps was that you go to the Bering store, you cross the tracks, and you take the first left and walk down to the end of the road, and you'll see the sign Hiker Haven. We weren't in the right state of mind to be navigating through a town, but we did get dropped off in front of a store that looked abandoned. Looked for railroad tracks, couldn't find any, so we started to cross this random bridge over a river, and that wasn't in the directions. Seems like it would have been, so I kind of felt like that wasn't the right way. Hero felt like it wasn't the right way, and we just turned around and started walking back towards the abandoned building. And on our way back to the abandoned building that we were dropped off, a car's coming up. So, we were going to just kind of ask them directions. Hey, have you heard of this place? Do you know where this place is? And the car coming back towards us after we've crossed this bridge, after we come back across the bridge, is the same guy that dropped us off. And he said that, oh, sorry, I live around here. I should know better. I drive through this all the time. The store is just up a half mile. Why don't you guys get in and I'll drop you off at the store? And we were very grateful because in the state of in the state of mind that we were in, it would have probably taken us maybe an hour to figure out exactly where we were and how far we were off. No cell phone reception. Phones and psychedelics don't really go together, so technology in general is sort of a puzzling thing. So we gladly accepted the ride, and he ended up dropping us right off at the Densmores, which is a spectacular trail angel home. They've got all the facilities that hikers could ever want. This time of year, the hiker box is phenomenal. Washer, dryer, shower, laundry, toilet, everything's all kind of off to the side, and there's an old garage that's been converted into a bunkhouse with 4 bunk beds, so 8 beds, and a real comfy couch and comfy armchairs, and just a little TV and a stove, and there's some stuff in here that it just really makes a hiker feel at home. So we got dropped off, got checked in, met Andrea and Jerry, and they're just 2 wonderful people. Really great people, and we got dropped off, and we had heard that there was a new ban on alcohol. I don't think that anything actually went down necessarily at the Dinsmores to make the ban happen. We had heard that it was more of an anticipation of 2 separate bubbles, which we have now deduced that the alcohol ban was kind of set for the 2 groups of people known as the Chill Hard Tribe, which you may have heard of, and then the Vortex Voyagers, which I'm now assuming that I'm part of the Vortex Voyagers. I'll tell you why I'm assuming that I'm part of that in a minute. I'll get to how I got initiated into that. And if anyone from the Vortex Voyagers is listening, and you're like, who's Jafar? I've never met you. Trust me, I'm a friend of the Vortex Voyagers. We should merge groups. I think the Chill Hard Tribe would do great with you guys. We could be really good friends. Seems like you guys are chilling even harder than the Chill Hard Tribe, which, respect, obviously. A lot of respect on our end. Anyway, so we get to the Dinsmores, get checked in. We had initially not planned on drinking, just to be respectful of the rules. But it was interesting because a turn of events have happened now. The Dinsmores have fallen in love with the Chill Hard Tribe. We all agreed that we wanted to come into their home with a lot of respect, and just to be kind of like on our best behavior, Of course, I'm saying this while we entered still tripping, but nonetheless, we wanted to be respectful and be good house guests, and we all really needed a good place to stay. And I think we all knew that we were going to be taking a 0 or 2. So, we just wanted to respect the home of people who are so loving and generous and, willing to provide their home as if it is your home, which is, it's huge for us. So we did end up staying a couple days, and on the hitch in with me and Haro, I got a call from Ladyhawke, who I don't know if she was ever mentioned on this podcast. We met in Lone Pine with the group of quite a few people, kind of merged. That was a merging of the Rift Raft crew, that was a merging with the Chillhard tribe. Just a lot of good energy in Lone Pine. But anyway, that is Ladyhawke. That's where we met. And Ladyhawke gave me a phone call, and we also saw her in Portland. So when we were in Portland, maybe we talked about Ladyhawke being there. Anyway, Ladyhawke gave me a call and said that her and Blood Bank were going to be coming up to Stevens Pass together in a day or two. There was no specifics really, but so they could do a little trail magic. And we had been talking about hiking the Enchantments. This is post Wonderland, dreaming about the Enchantments. We've heard a lot about them. Didn't really know much about the Enchantments, where they were, what was involved. We really didn't know much. We just knew that it was supposed to be an amazing, beautiful place, and that we really wanted to, or we really were supposed to check this place out. So it had kind of been in the back of our minds. Me and Shepard had really been talking about it a lot. I don't know if everybody else was like super on board or not, but I knew that from that call, Ladyhawke and Blood Bank coming, that I was going to have to finagle the group into doing the Enchantments. Turns out it didn't take much finagling, but I kind of felt like I had to get the tribe on board, as it were. They were totally on board, but the timing couldn't have worked out better. So Blood Bank arrived, I think, the next day to do a memorial hike with one of her friends from a previous hike, CDT hike, and maybe PCT. I'm blanking on his name. I've been told it so many times. What's that? It's like a cross between Fabio and the other guy. Damn it, I forgot. Anyway, we'll bring it up tomorrow maybe. Anyway, she was on a memorial hike with him to spread some ashes up on Scorpion Peak, which she did do, and then she came back, and we all hung out, kind of waiting for Ladyhawke to arrive at the Densmores and then make a plan. By the time she came, we had really been talking about the Enchantments. Blood Bank was totally in. From the second I said Enchantments, she was totally in. And then we didn't know if Ladyhawke was going to be hiking or not. So luckily she did show up with some gear, and she was ready to go as well. So we stayed at the Densmores a total of 4 days. On the last day, or the second to last day, how do I word this? Jerry Densmore, he has health issues. He's had previous problems with his heart, and he has health issues. I'll just leave it at that. And he actually, on the way back from, it was either a doctor's appointment or a little trip in town that he took, he was driving alone and had a heart attack, and he had to pull over. And some of the neighbors saw, and I think they were the ones that initially called the ambulance. And he wasn't hurt, and his truck was fine. He pulled up, and we didn't even know what was happening. We were all in the bunkhouse here, just hanging out watching movies. And we see an ambulance, and we're confused because we just went to breakfast with Jerry. He was just talking to us in the bunkhouse. It seemed like a few hours ago, and seemed fine. And and it was just a real heavy moment for us because we'd been here for 3 days, and we were just trying to be respectful and helpful from the get-go, asking like, hey, is there anything we can help you guys out with? Is there anything we can do around the house that, is maybe a chore for you, that's something that we can just knock out for you? There's, 5 guys, and there's anything that, we basically said, if there's anything you need, let us know. So there was a few things like this and that. We took some trash to the dump. I mowed the front yard. I mowed the backyard. We did quite a bit of stuff around the house for them as well, which was cool that they allowed us to even, help in their situation. But so when the ambulance came and then they picked Jerry up, and Andrea was letting us know, like, hey, if any hikers come, just, show them around and, let them know kind of like the rules and go over where stuff is and things like that, and basically kind of told us to just hold down the fort. And at this point, we weren't ready to leave anyway, so we were totally fine with that, and kind of, it felt like this is our home now, and it felt like we kind of worked here, and it felt like more like we were with family. I don't know if that sounds weird, but yeah. So we kind of held down the fort while Andrea was at the hospital. She was gone quite a while, and a few hikers came in and out, and I think a couple stayed the night, but for the most part it was just us, and they both returned the same night. So Jerry was doing good, and he was even talking to us when he got back. So everything's really good with him, and we actually just saw him today too. So everything seems great. But it's just one of those things, like it when you're not expecting it, it's really heavy too. And then you get emotionally involved with someone who's not really your family, but it feels like a family member. That's how it felt when it happened. It was a real heavy day for all of us, and kind of quiet and somber, and just sort of, it's hard to explain how it felt. But then when they got back and we were talking, and there was just something had changed when they got back. I think they really knew how respectful we were trying to be, and I think that they could understand that we were truly being genuine and loving, and I think all of that came through, and it was really beautiful. And we actually ended up leaving the next morning to head towards Leavenworth. We weren't going to get the permit that day because it was a Sunday and the permit office is closed for the Enchantments. So we ended up just kind of going to Leavenworth, grabbing a bite to eat with the whole group, and kind of just going over what we were going to do and what the plan was. And at the place that we ate, excuse me. At the place we ate in Leavenworth, there was a nice young man ringing us up, and I asked him, hey, do you know any free places to camp around here? And he said, oh yeah, there's this one place, and just gave me a really non-specific road. That's all he gave me. This road turns into a Forest Service road, which ends up getting you up into the hills, and you can kind of camp, and I don't know if it's BLM land or what it is, but we didn't really care. We just wanted a free place to camp that was close to the permit station, so we could wake up nice and early and get in on that lottery. Which, by the way, is a pretty hard to get permit, it seemed like. We ended up getting it with the lottery, and they drew our name out of a hat, and we got the permit for the Corps, which means you can camp anywhere, and we got it for 3 nights, and we ended up staying 4 nights. Don't tell anybody. We fucked up. We didn't fuck up. We purposely stayed out there a little longer. Anyway, so we stayed out. The 7 of us all stayed kind of on a dirt road up there. I'm blanking on the name of the road. It's not significant at all. If you're in Leavenworth and need a place to camp, there's a KOA. There's stuff all around that you can pay for, but nobody wanted to pay for a place. So anyway, we wake up the next morning feeling pretty refreshed, and we got to the permit office like 10 minutes before the thing started, and the lady was very, people were still pulling up after 7:45 a.m., and she was rejecting people, but she kind of gave us a little speech and told us all about the permit system. We put our name in the hat for the lottery, got pulled for the lottery. The Jesus actually pulled our name out of the lottery, which was really cool. And thank you, the Jesus. And thank you, Jesus. So we got the permit we wanted. Everybody's super stoked. We get all packed up. We got maybe 40 beers between 7 people. And we got a bunch of food at the Safeway, resupplied real nice. And we hit the trail. We got not far at all. I think just knowing how much time we had to spend up there, we just sort of were making the most of it. And, you know, really what it's about is just being outside and being with your friends and being in a beautiful place. You don't have to do miles. You don't have to see everything. And there's something pretty cool about not seeing the whole thing, too, because it just makes me want to go back and, like, see what I didn't see, because what I did see in the Enchantments was just mind-blowing. So anyways, that day we hiked out. First day we did maybe 3 miles, probably less. Camped at a little spot that's not even considered the Enchantments, just kind of on the way up. Most people would probably never camp there. So we camped there, and then the next day we got up to Snow Lake, which we camped at. So that would have been the day 2, hung out. Everybody was just having a really good time. It's a really good group of people, a lot of really good energy. I don't know, everybody was in a really good mood. It was great to have Blood Bank there. It was great to have Ladyhawke there. And then just, you know, having the good group of people, it's just, it made the entire trip. So day 3, we were still at Snow Lake. Or actually, we weren't even at Snow Lake. We were at this lake right before. I think it's like Naughty Lake, and not like N-A-U-G-H-T. Like a girl's name, like N-A-U-D-I-E or something like that. Nadu Lake or something. I really don't even know. I'm terrible with this stuff, and I hope you don't hold it against me, because I'm forgetful. But anyway, so we camped there, and then day 3 on the Enchantments was solid rain. We didn't leave our tent until about 4 p.m., 5 p.m. maybe. There was talks of hiking out and possibly just moving our tents up to Snow Lake and then setting up there. But, I mean, we had just literally laid in our tents all day and did nothing. Part of me really loved that experience, and part of me was just ready to fucking get out of my tent. Nonetheless, day 3 was pretty much nothing. We just stayed in our tents while it rained all day, which was kind of nice, you know. Got to hang out with everybody and just sit around, chill, and get sore from laying down for 27 hours straight. And then day 4 is when the Enchantments actually started, which is hilarious. You know, it's funny, you know, we go out for a 4 or 5 day trip on an 18-mile hike, and we see half of what we're supposed to and do half the miles we're supposed to. But I wouldn't expect anything less from the Chill Hard tribe, and I don't think anybody has any regrets, and I don't think anybody would have done it another way. So I think everything went perfect and as it should. So on the last day, we woke up. It kind of looked like it might rain, but we also knew that, like, no one wanted to be in our tents. Everybody wanted to hike. So we all made our way up to Snow Lake, which was absolutely amazing. We hung out at Snow Lake for maybe 4 or 5 hours. We indulged in a little boomers, a little psilocybin. We let our minds get a little weird, a little wacky, a little twisty bendy, and hung out at Snow Lake, did a little adventures there, played frisbee, did a little dance party, a lot of snacking going on. And then towards the end of the night, everyone was kind of like, all right, we got to get out of Snow Lake. Let's go on at a little adventure and go actually do some hiking. So I think it was about 4 miles up from Snow Lake was the pass. I forgot the name of the pass. If you're familiar with the Enchantments, you know where I'm talking about. It's this pass that everybody really dreads, and for good reason. We slack packed. We left our tents up and set up a base camp, and then all just took like empty packs with water and snacks and warm layers. So on the way up to the pass, it was pretty much just straight up. If you had a full pack, it would have been brutal as fuck. It was quite the ass kicker. So even with no pack, we were still struggling. We got up there just in time to see the sunset. I had no idea there was a lake waiting up there for us. And we get up to the pass, and we're hanging out for a bit, and we watched the sunset, and over I don't know if it's granite or not, but what looked like granite, it felt like we were in the Sierras again. It felt like a cross between Desolation Wilderness and Yosemite or something. Maybe Immigrant Wilderness. It kind of felt like all of that combined, just with a shit ton of trees. And this time of the year, all the pines are turning yellow, and the leaves are all yellow, orange, and red, and we're in fall. It's fall now, and it's really showing. It was beautiful. The pass was so epic, and we all hung out up there for quite a while. The sun went down. We were just, hanging out, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, and we made this huge batch of ramen and ate all the remaining snacks. And then by the time we were done at the pass, it was just pitch black, and we were all like, how are we going to get down this mountain? We'd basically been following ducks all the way up. Very little trail going up to that pass, but the ducks are well placed, and the route kind of makes sense. Like when you're looking down, like you're not going off this cliff, you're going off something you can go down. Same thing, you kind of went up. So it was quite the adventure getting down and back to our tents. I think we had a full 6 or 7 miles back down from the pass to get back to the base camp that we were at. But it was really great, and all of us were just absolutely loving it and having a really good time. And by this time, our minds are just on another level, and it was just great. Just a lot of really good times up there, and headed back down and made our way to the tents. Everybody passed the fuck out real hard. It was great, and I had a little mice issue. He kind of crawled in between my tent and my rainfly, and was trying to get at a Snickers bar. Not trying to get, he got it. But there's a little storage thing on my tent where I can kind of put stuff, like a little pocket, and I decided that I'd put a Welch's Fruit Snacks and a Snickers bar up there for when I wanted it later. Now keep in mind that these snacks had been in there all day. The rats or mice could have totally just had their way with it, and my food bag was sitting there. I don't know why they chose to wait for me to be in my tent to devour my food, but that is what happened. So as I'm trying to go to bed, I keep popping my head up thinking, what the fuck is that noise? And then there is just a rat sitting on top of my tent, not giving a fuck, just barely nibbling at a Snickers. Chewed quite a good hole through there, through the tent there in the mesh, and then chewed quite a good hole in the Snickers bar. He didn't get much of the Snickers. I don't think it would have been worth it for him, but mad respect on being able to scale up a mesh tent and do that while someone's trying to sleep. That was pretty impressive. Yes, so that was kind of the final day. We were actually supposed to leave that night, but nobody was in the right state of mind to leave or anything like that. So we packed up in the morning, made our way. I think we hit trail at about 10:30 in the morning. So, pretty typical of us as of late, but still kind of a late start. And we made our way back to the trailhead, made our way back to the cars. All of this was supported by Blood Bank and Ladyhawke, who each had a car, and we really couldn't have done it without them. We were happy to have them there, and they kind of been shuttling us around, and it couldn't have worked out better. And I'd like to say thank you to Blood Bank and to Ladyhawke for being a part of our adventure and being trail angels and being our ride. When we got back to the parking lot, this is actually earlier today, so now we're back on current times. I don't know if I said the date. It's October the 9th, Friday, I believe. Not 100% sure. When we got back to the trailhead, Ladyhawke's back window was busted out, and we couldn't believe it. We were pretty confused about what had happened. We weren't sure if it was a bear or another car that had hit her car, and later that we kind of deduced that some of Faro's stuff had been taken, but it was quite weird that just clothes were taken out of a car that had plenty of stuff. So I don't know. It was weird. It was a weird situation. But the way the window was broken definitely didn't seem like a bear or anything like that. And there was no food really taken either. So none of it made sense. But Ladyhawke had a giant hole through her back window. And luckily she stayed positive and did not let it dampen her mood or spirits. And it was great. It wasn't great that she had a thing, but it was great how she handled the situation. Very, very well done. Very well done. Staying positive. So that had happened, and then we drove into Leavenworth after, got a little bit of food, and then we made our way back to the Densmores, which we are currently at now. We'll be hanging out here, I don't know, it's probably like 8 or 9 p.m. right now, so we'll probably hang out a little bit tomorrow and just make our way back to trail tomorrow. Like I don't think anyone's planning on doing any actual miles tomorrow. I think Stehekin's about 108 miles from here, from Stevens Pass. Not 100% sure on that, so I don't know. That'll probably take us 5 or 6. Who am I kidding? That'll probably take like 7 or 8 days for us. But I think we're all ready to start getting back on the PCT and doing some miles. And this side adventure really couldn't have gone any better. And I think everybody had a really good time. And it was just another thing that like bonded us all together and really solidified the group, which it was all great. Really awesome time. We're currently 190 miles away from Manning Park, from Canada. So we're all getting kind of antsy. Seems like the end's coming soon. But we're not, we're not too worried about getting to the northern terminus. We're not worried about Canada. I think we've all said it multiple times that even if our hike ended today, none of us would be mad. We'd all be satisfied with what has taken place and what we've done and what we've been through. And I think anybody that's on a long distance hike kind of knows that. I think there are different types of people that really have that pull towards Canada or finishing, or they have some sort of expectation in their own mind of what it means to finish, or like a certain date or certain miles per day or something. And we're not those people. We're the chill hard tribe. It's what we do. So I don't really know how to explain fully my opinion on that, but we are chilling pretty hard out here at the Dinsmores, and tomorrow we should be back on trail. I tried to record a couple times, but each time I pulled out my recording with the group of people, it wasn't the right time, and it sometimes feels forced, the conversation. I mean, these conversations that we have every day is what I would really love to capture, just because that's the essence of the hiking experience. That's the essence of who we are. That's the essence of the group. I mean, it really is just everything. And we're having these deep conversations, and we're becoming better friends every single day, and that can't be captured on this recording. I can tell you about it, but there's no way that I can like physically put into some sort of podcast or some sort of recording. There's no one that can write a book. There's no movie that they can make that's going to be good enough to explain all of this. But I'm going to do my best to translate. So we'll see. Shepard's walking up right now.
Oh, I thought we'd do that tomorrow. Just like
Yeah. I wanted to recap everything so I didn't have like that boring part with everybody where I'm like, we hiked 7 miles out of Goldmire, and then the next day we hiked.
Oh, so you're catching up.
Right now. So I'm catching up to now, and then what I'll do with like the group tomorrow when it feels more organic is
just take a bunch of Adderall and drink a couple beers and then go to town.
Yeah, and I'd like to get to like what was everyone's like favorite time and all that, like all the highlights. Like I mentioned a couple things, but like I can't really think of all the crazy shit that's happened in the last week. So I was just about to wrap this one up.
Hi guys.
Hey, your old pal, the Shepherd.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Shepherd back on the podcast doing this thing.
Yeah, dude, this one was 40 minutes.
By yourself?
Yeah, no one's gonna listen to this. It's so boring. I'm currently doing a load of laundry too at the Densmores, and looks like Shepherd's getting himself the perfect towel for the perfect shower coming up. Well, Shepard, we'll record with the
Yeah.
group tomorrow, but
Yeah.
do you want to tell everyone goodbye?
I love you guys, and I miss you, and I can't wait to see you again tomorrow morning, or afternoon, or evening, or sometimes in the near future.
That was beautiful.
This is from the heart.
I could tell. All right, guys. Love you. Bye.